Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get it started a little bit early, about 12 minutes early. And anybody, I see you got three of you, so let me pop in. Alfredo and Thomas, glad to see you here. So if you would go ahead, if you haven't logged into Moodle, we have to be on here. So let's go over to the modules section and take a look and just do some quick housekeeping to kind of see where we are at this point in time. Okay, and we are down at, this is week number 3, the 19th and the 21st are our classes. Now, as I've said over and over, but sometimes people forget, we've been working the Excel cases way in advance of what they're due, and then turning them in. And then of course you have the quiz over chapter 5 and the Stephen Few text on that's on the 22nd, which would be Thursday. Now, I also gave you some, posted some resources here that really do relate back to that case that we did, the city of Clintwood or the town of Clintwood. And so as we work through, you know, I'll often have some things here for you to take a look at that are relevant. Now, we're going to work on case number 8 today. We did case number 7, so you should have uploaded it. And then we'll be uploading case number 8 today, and that's Action Plastics. And over in the Solve It textbook, Solve It 6.0 textbook, that's page 76. And we're going to be doing some more work using, doing some computations, but also using, doing some of the data, doing a database function in Excel. So I'd like you to go over to the files if you would, okay? Now let's go pop over there. And we're going to go and we'll find that file. I should have it published. If I don't, I will. And there it is. This one, XLS8, September 15th. Or no, oh, it's spring 15. I'm sorry. This is the date it was created. So let's download it. Okay. Like I've said before, I've got fragments of stuff I've worked on and kind of tweak them as we go along. And when I get what I think is maybe a best fit, I've been a long time trying to find a text to replace this Solve It text that takes us through some basic problems businesses have. There just really is not anything out there. I found something that I'm going to use in the fall. Now, this is this text, pardon me, this file is the solution file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to download it, okay, on my computer, and then I'm going to put it on my desktop. Again, this is just to make sure that you can upload it. And you can put your name on it or whatever you want to, and then save it to the desktop. And then I would close it. And then I would go down to that file. I'd find it here. And let's see where it's at. And if you want to rename it, you can, or whatever. But this is just to keep you from working in the thing and then not, and just inadvertently creating a system file that you can't upload. Okay? Now, like I said, each of these cases deal with a particular problem, and in this case deals with, as they tell us there on page 76, employee benefits, a billing reconciliation program, and we have each of the employees, based on the number of dependents they have to pay a certain amount. And if you look in the table up here, again, as I've said, these cases are like word problems. Okay, and the bottom line, if you miss a little bit, don't worry about it. You can always pop back in and take a look at the recording. But these are like word problems. They'll tell us some information about the company, and then they'll come like at the top of page 77 and start to give us some information. And so this company they have insurance for employees. And this table here, which is drawn from the text, shows you the company pays $240. If the employee doesn't have any dependents, then $0. The employee's share. If the employee has one dependent, it's $72, excuse me. And then if the employee has if the employee has 2 or more dependents, they pay $200. So we have an employer share and again and an employee share. And again, these are the assumptions we're working on. Okay. Now we've also got, as we come down here into this area, we've got the last name, the first name. I can move that over where it reads a little nicer. Company share. And I've got the employer share of the total premium. I'm going to come down to row, and this is the file XLS8 SP15. It's over there in the files. And I'm going to go ahead and put another filler in there. And I think it's a purple, whatever it is. Yeah. Ooh, I don't like this. Yeah. I'm going to come back here again just to make it look a little bit better. I'm going to do it. I favor blue. It looks more business-like. That looks like a popsicle at the fair or something. Okay, now again, we go over these things about designing a spreadsheet. Okay, and here's the title, and here is the documentation. Then we have an assumptions area. Okay, and I've got that highlighted with a fill. And then we come down to the output and computation area, and that of course is this table where we have the employee's first name, last name, the first name, the number of dependents, company share, the employee share, and the total premium that has to be paid.
No, you have class at 8 and 9 and 11.
They're in 77, as I said, in the middle of page 77.
Oh, sorry, I have class at 9 and 11. That was it.
Pays for the employee portion. Okay. And then the employee, if they have dependents, based on the number of dependents, they have a certain amount they have to pay in.
Well, I have like class at 2.
The insurance cost is $440 a month.
Monday, Wednesday.
240 of it. The employee shares, the employee with 2 or more kids pays $200. So, if you have 12 kids, you're in luck. Because you're paying quite a bit, almost near as much as the company share, but not what you would be paying maybe at other places. Again, these are one of these issues that we run in with benefits, and this is just to kind of give you that problem. But underlying it is the issue of trying to use Excel to do a couple of things. One, to do computations, which it's primarily designed to do, okay, and then number 2, to do data, use a little bit of a database function. Now I want to show you something, so I'm going to diminish this down, and I'll go back over here to the files section, and I'm going to show you the skeleton file for this case. And so you'll see I'm always trying to save you a little bit of time and effort. Now I'm going to open up the Action Plastics file. This is a skeleton file, and you'll see there are several columns that you need to add, and in the tasks, which are at the bottom of page 77, they'll tell you, okay, we'll do this, 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 this. Okay, so there's data input and that kind of stuff, and I really don't feel good about wasting your time doing that when I think we can walk through this and see it done. We could see the end result, what you ought to have. So I'm going to go ahead and open this one up. This is the solution file. I'm going to talk about it. Did a couple of things. First of all, we put the assumptions out there, and then we used some fill to set off. And notice what's happening. I'm leading the end user on path to end up here at the computation and the output area. Okay. Now, we've also done something with these. I've also put them in some kind of an order, and I'm going to click on sort and filter, and I'm going to see if I did a custom sort. Oh, I need to, and I think we did, or I did. Okay. Now, before we get into some of the specifics about this, I want to talk about the custom filter and sort. When we do a filter, okay, we're working with records. When we do a sort, we're working with variables or factors, okay? And so there's a big difference between the two of them. Now what you have right here is what we would call a customized sort. Notice that I've highlighted the whole area, okay, that I want to sort, all right? Then the dialog box opens. I'll go over here to the sort and filter. I'll just do it again. I'll do the custom sort. And then I make sure my data, I click my data has headers, and it does. And then I proceed to do my sort. Now, I want to sort the data in what makes some kind of logical sense. Just basically for visual acuity, or just make it look nice, or make it look more logical or more easy to use. So, I added a level. You click on that, okay, and then you choose the column, okay, and this first sort, this is on the number of dependents, and I have it sorted in largest to smallest, and they're sorted on the values, okay. Now, then I come on last name, and I have them sorted on alphabetically. So I can do what we call an AZ, which is ascending, or a ZA, or ZA, which is a descending sort. It just depends on what makes sense to us. This first sort is what we would call the primary sort. This would be known as the secondary sort. And then if we added another level, we could call it a tertiary sort, which would be a third level if it made any sense to do it. And it just doesn't really, because we've really got about all that we need here. Now, as it's set up right now, as I look, we see that it's sorted by the total premium that you pay. I can see it just kind of from eyeballing it. I'll go back here and highlight all this. This is not a big deal until I start talking about 200 or 300 case records or something like that. And so I've got by the number of dependents and then the last name. Okay. Any access, or if you're in Excel, or if you're doing a spreadsheet function, everything always goes from the left to the right, or the first and then on down. And the first thing it does is it sorts it by the number of dependents. Okay. And then it orders it on the largest to the smallest. Okay. And I'm doing that for a very simple reason. I know that the more dependents they have, the higher the employee share. And then also the amount of the total premium. If I'm concerned about the employee share, then I have to be thinking about that. Okay? So far, so good. We're in good shape here. Now, there's some other things that we can do here with this to make it look, to give it a little bit better visual quality. And I'm going to come in for the company share, and I'm going to put my cursor at cell D8. Now I'm going to come down from D8 down to D18, and I'm going to put them in the middle. The company share is a given. The company pays $240, and then the employee pays an amount based upon how many dependents they have. Okay. Now, again, if you came in late, you can always go back and review. What I did is I went into the files section of Canvas, and I found this file, XLS8 SP15, and it's got the number 4 because I've downloaded it at least 3 or 4 times. But you'll find that, and that's the solution file for this case, okay, or a solution file. Now I go ahead, and as I work through them, I tweak them. And so over time, I might save something that I like, and this is something I like because I thought, okay, this is not bad. Looks okay. Now, let's come over to the assumptions area, okay? And let's look at it for just a second. We're going to start with the company share. Then we want to say what's the employee or the employee share if they have 0 dependents. What's the employee share if they have 1 dependent? What's the employee share if they have 2 or more? And so where did you get the figures? I got the figures from the case. And if you come and you don't have your book with you, you're missing a lot because you're not going to know where these figures are from. So you really ought to have your book with you and have it open and follow along as we go through the case. Yeah, or if you want, you could review this recording later and do it. But those are where the figures come from. Okay, and also it's good for you because it helps you kind of put into context what we're trying to do. All right. Now, as I said before, we're working with Excel, and we're doing 2 things. First of all, we're taking advantage of its computational skill, and it's good for doing computations. And secondly, we're doing a little bit of database type work by organizing all these data. Okay, so let's take a look at that. Now we have the company share and these assumption cells up here. And let's check just for a moment. Let's check and see if I had done any name management. And I did. Okay. So I know that for the company share, that it's going to be at, I had to put the company share to 40. I've got, oh, what cell is that? Okay, yeah. S1, or I1, excuse me. Well, yeah, I've got, a company share. The company share is J1, my apologies. And the value is $240. Then you can see the employees share it with no dependents, then employees share with 1 dependent, and then 2. And as we've talked about before, the name manager is a nice tool that I can use. And seeing it's kind of hard up there, you can always just click on it, it'll tell you. Simply because it lets me use them in an equation. Now I'm going to click on cell D8, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay, instead of putting equal $J, $2, okay, I made it a fixed cell reference because I used the name manager. Okay, and so how would I do that? We've talked about define name. I put using a formula, and I can put this, and I'll say it's equal to this. And I'm going to do that equal to, I'll put plus 50. And so I'm going to use it in computation. There it is. But rather than just cell references, I see a reference to a variable. And to the extent that you can, use the name manager. It will save you a lot of time and trouble. Now, we see the company share, and since that's referenced back as an absolute reference, since that cell J1 has been set aside just for that. Again, the beauty of this type of thing is, okay, well, what happens, all right, if the company share needs to be increased to 250? It's simple. I just put in 250, and it changes the spreadsheet. Or if I change the amount on any one of those, all right, yeah, I'm good to go. So if we say, even if you have 0 dependents, we're going to make you pay $10 a month. If you have 1 dependent, we'll make you pay $80 a month. And then you have 2 or more, we're going to have to raise that to match what we pay. And it would just update everything. Okay. So again, not that big of a deal. Now let's look over here at, we've done the company share, and then we look at the employee share. Okay, and we've got a conditional statement, and I'm going to copy it and then put it on a notepad. Okay, Okay. Now, this is for the employee share. The figure that's in cell E8. And let's look at this and think about it for a moment. We're doing a little bit of conditional. We're doing some conditional statements. Actually, this is a nested conditional statement. And here's what it's saying in English. If C8 is greater than 2, okay, then it would be the employee share 2 or more. If that condition is met, it goes to the next conditional test. If C8 equals 1, then it's the employee share 1 dependent, comma. If that condition is not met, then it goes the C8 equals 0, okay, and you would put in the employee share 0 dependence. And then you make sure, okay, that you have equal numbers of parentheses, and you've got that statement. Now, I would probably, using that, I would probably go ahead and put a $sign in front of the column, because I'm coming down the column in terms of cell referencing. All right. And what it says is if I've got more than 2, then it's going to be the figure that's over there, the employee 2 or more. And that cell's already defined as a value of 200. If I don't meet that, I go to the next condition. And that is if I have 1 in there, if C8 has 1, then it's the employee share with 1 dependent. And that employee share with 1 dependent, that's been given to cell J2, and that's going to, J3, excuse me, and that's going to be $72. And then if I go to, if C8 equals 0, okay. Now there's some other ways to do this, but this is probably the clearest way. And you could see where the name manager really helps, because it's just, it's fewer cell references and it's more just like, okay. So that's how I get the employee share. Now, as I walk down through this, I'll see this. Let me diminish this down. I will see the employee share. Then we start to look at the C9, C10, C11. We're just coming right down the column. We call it a nested conditional statement for the simple reason we have more than 1 conditional statement that's operative. Let me show you something. Every time you see a comma, that's telling the machine to say, hey, stop for just a second. Okay, check this. All right, well, if that condition's met, C8 equal, if it's greater than 2, greater than or equal to 2, excuse me, then go put in the value EE share 2 or more. Okay, the machine says, oh, okay, I'll put in 200. But if the condition's not met, then we go to the next one. If that's not met, we go to the next one. Okay, and so we've covered all of the possibilities, and we also make sure, again, just like you would with any equation, because Boolean logic works like algebra, make sure you have a balance on the parentheses and you're good to go. And then now again, me being old school, why I let this flow through me without putting a $sign in front of that column, but it works. Probably because I've anchored everything over here in the assumptions area. Okay. Now we know we have the company share and we have the employee share. Okay. So now it just becomes simply an issue of adding D8 through E8, the company share plus the employee share. That's why we've called it an output and computational area. You should almost always end up with you should almost always end up with a total or something. Either the last column ought to either be some type of total or summative type of data, and you should probably have the same thing, okay, if you have a row at the bottom, if it makes sense to total everything. For example, I might want to know the employee share, so I'm just going to come up here to E8, and then I'm going to come over to the auto sum. Okay, and same thing for total premium. Okay, it's just to embellish it. And I probably would come over here in column, I'd come over here in cell A19 and I'll put total. And so I have the total employee share and the total premiums. And if I want, I can just also do this, come to the company and get it as well. And then these total figures, I'm going to put them in the middle. Now, one of the things I'm uncomfortable with what I've got here is I don't like the size of the font. So I'm going to come over to the assumptions area, okay? And that's cell H1 to J4, and I'm going to bump those up to about a 14. And then I'll just maneuver the columns so it just looks a little bit nicer. I'm going to do the same thing down here and make those 14s. Okay. I'll make sure the company share is good. And then we have the number of dependents. And then we have their first name. Okay. And I want to center those two data. Back to, yeah, all these here. I'm going to center them as well. And then these two. So it all looks nice. If I want to, I'm talking about money, so I can make dollar signs, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's implied that's here. One thing, if I wanted to, would be to save some spaces. Come down here here on like cell D15, and I'm going to go ahead and make that into like currency. And then I'm going to get rid of the 2 zeros. And then I'll click on there, and I'm going to do copy, format, paste format, excuse me, and boom. That way they know I've got dollar signs. See, it just looks a lot cleaner like this. Now, sometimes even more old school people than me, especially if they're accountants, they'll put a dollar sign at the top just to make sure you know they're dollars. And they usually like to use it in pure accounting format. But I know I'm talking about dollars. Now, writing this conditional statement is not that hard. It's not that hard a thing to do, okay? Especially if you've used the name manager and if you think your way through, okay, the process. Now, what I did, you said, would this work if I reversed the order and I came to 0 dependents? Of course it would, okay? Just, the cell references are going to be the same. I'm just reverse the process, but it doesn't matter. There's maybe a little easier and a little better way or approach to choose, okay? And it's to use this tool, okay? And I can use that, or I could try to use a VLOOKUP tool, okay? And the textbook works you primarily in terms of the conditional statement. But I'm going to try something here. I'm gonna click down here in cell I'm in I-15, and I'm gonna click formulas, and I'm come into the lookup and reference, and I'm gonna find the VLOOKUP. Okay, and I'm gonna get the VLOOKUP dialog box. Okay, and it says, let's look up a value. Okay. And I'm going to look up this. Okay. And it says the table array. And I'm going to choose the assumptions table. All right. And then the column index number, I will put 2. Okay. And then if I have a range lookup, okay, that's going to be logical. Now, I'm just going to leave that. Let's see what if I get something here. Oh, I didn't. Oh, it's not going to play nice because of those name managers. All right. Let's look at the VLOOKUP one more time. It's going to give me a little bit of trouble because I've got the name managers in there. Click on the VLOOKUP, and let's look at. First of all, it shows, okay, what value are you going to look at? Okay. And then a table array. Okay, and numbers are logical values in which data is retrieved. Okay, yeah, and it can't, that's right, it can be, it says can be a different person to range name. Oh, it didn't do that for me there. And then I choose the column. Now here I have column number 2, okay, and that would give me some output. I'm going to try something here, all right, and let's look up the value. Come over here to, employee share. Come over to cell E8. Let's click on it. We're just playing around with it. And the table array would be this I1 through J4. Now we'll just play around, and then we'll try. Let's try column 2. Okay, and let's see if it's going to give me anything here that's worthwhile. And the range look like, no, it's not. Well, we'll do a VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP up a later tape. But I think what I've got going on is I have too many. I've defined those names in there, and it's not the same as the name range, but that's okay. Right? And this isn't that pesky. This is not that pesky a conditional statement to write. And you'll notice I'm just down here in the I'm down here, and I'm just I would write it in the notepad and then paste it in. Okay. Now, one of the nice things about Excel, and I'll show you this here real quickly, is if I decide to try a function, and I'm going to try this again, I'm going to do the VLOOKUP, and they'll give me, I can just open that function up and then click on help on this function. And they'll connect out to Excel, and they'll give you a little video, okay, on when and how to use it. And we'll go through a case where we use the VLOOKUP. I think also maybe, no, we're just going to do a VLOOKUP, and they'll walk you through it. So you said, I would rather do that. You may have to reformat the data differently. And then another function that we'll use will be the sum if certain condition is met. So we've got that's a nice little tool that we've got there if we want to work with it. And again, now I'm going to scroll down here for a minute, and we're going to find we'll find an example here. Okay. They've got the little video. And then they'll give you an example. And in this example, these are some kind of supplier parts, and they're wanting you to look up the price, it looks like. Okay. And they'll show you the syntax here, and they're looking at VLOOKUP D13 to B, let's see, D3. Okay, and then the array is in B12, B11, and those aren't kind of shown here. And then the third column, and then false if you want an exact match. So yeah. Now, apart from this, I'm not all that, pepped up about what more we can do with this. It's formatted well. We've got everything correct. You could use some conditional formatting. I don't think it's going to do you any good. Okay. And you've got just this simple little reconciliation billing. Now, employee insurance billing program. But look, if you had 1,000 of them, that's going to be a different issue. You could, if you wanted to, try to get counts of the number of dependents that they've got, or the well, that would be the one variable, because then the employee share. So in that case, if you've got, let's say you've got 100 or 200, 300 cases or records, excuse me, then we could do this. Okay, and I'm gonna highlight all the way from A7 to F18, and as you would probably guess, I'm going to click Insert Pivot Table, and I'm going to put a pivot table in new, and then I can do a little bit of work here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the number of dependents and put it down here in the values, and I want to get this. I want to get the count. Okay. And then I'm going to take the last name, and I'm going to put that in rows. And there we are. And we have the total number of dependents that each one of them has. Let's see, let's do the sum, because I don't think I'm getting what I want. There we go. Then if we want, the nice thing about something like this, so simplistic, is it's pretty easy. I can add some more stuff on if I want to. Do a few more things, add a little more for visual acuity. I might want to add some other variables in here, but for all intents and purposes, that's what we're looking at. And it's a nice design spreadsheet. That's case number 8. Not that big of a deal. Okay. Now, just so that you know, again, the textbook, like over in 78 Action Plastics, the case starts over there. They tell you about the company, some stuff we're going to do, that business, and then you walk over to page 77. Okay, and they continue some more information. And these are, again, like I said, these are like word problems. Okay. And then they'll walk you down to the tasks, and they've got 5 tasks. And even one of the things they do, like on number 2, and this is over on page 78, the task number 2 is add 2 more employees. Okay, now we can do that. Pretty simple process. If I want to, let's see, do I have Jackson? I've got Jackson, so I added Jackson in. And I've got Kumar added in. Or did I? Well, here's what I'm going to do. Come down to row 18 and click Insert. Okay. And right above, we're going to put, we're going to add this person, Kumar, Kumar, and first name. I'll make sure it's, yeah. And the first name is Pavan. Okay. Oh, I already have good. Okay. Well, if we've already got Pavan in there, let's delete that row then. We did have them, didn't we? Well, let's just pretend that Pavan has a brother named Joe. Okay. And Joe has 5 dependents. Joe's been busy. And we'll take the company share and we'll just carry it on down. Boom. Okay. And the employee share, and we'll just scroll that on down. Boom. There we are. And then the total premium. And there we are. Now we're ready to go back and we can resort. Follow me? So the authors just wanted to have you, how do I put it? Just insert it. So Joe Kumar has 5 dependents. As they say, they're cheaper by the dozen. Now, I want to show you something here that I just got. I got a little autofill option, okay? And they're saying to me, hey, you know, you got a little bit of an issue or something. We want to take a look at that. And then we'll just, to make this look pretty, I'm going to come back here to A8. Scroll down now to IF19. Come over here to the sort and filter. I'm going to do a custom sort. Number of dependents, largest to smallest, last name, and there's Joe right at the top. Okay. So there would be. Now, if you take a look on page, well, action starts at 76, excuse me, page 76, then all the tasks are there in 77. Page 78. Now, the authors will show you the problem and the tasks, and then at the end of the chapter, they have a little tutorial for you, okay? And so it's always a good idea to take a look at that because they try to add a little bit more information for you in terms of how to, of the type of function you're using. And you'll see there right in the middle of page 78, equal if, and then some condition. So we check for some condition. There's an action if it's true. There's an action if it's false. Okay. And you can do nested statements as they show you at the bottom of page 78. If condition action true, action false, comma, if condition action true, action false, comma, if, and there's always a parenthesis in front, condition action true, action false, and then if condition action true, action false, and then they balance out the parentheses. That's in the middle of page 78. You say, how long could you string these out? I don't know if they're, I don't know what the default on this in terms of the length. But let me say this. If you're going to do something, now this is just me. If you're going to do something like this, all right, go ahead and create an assumptions area. Use a name manager so you can keep it straight, okay? Because otherwise, it gets sketchy really, really fast, okay? And they walk you through that little tutorial there on page 78 and 79. And then they have that figure 8 on page 380 is that, I think it's called the course file, but they walk you through using using conditionals. Now, you're going to see the text say also indicate the ranges of these. All right. I'm not a great believer in that for a simple reason. If you've got a name manager, okay, you know where stuff's at. If you've designed it well, you know where things are at. So the business of the range is not that big of a deal. Now, we've done some filter sorting. We've sorted these on the basis of the total premium, and I'm clicking back over here and sort and find. I gotta get the whole set there. My apologies. And okay, number of dependents, excuse me, and then by the last name. All right. Now, notice, as I said before, once you understand cell referencing, and then you understand the difference between a sort and a filter, you're on your way as far as cell referencing and putting stuff together. Now, here we've got this sort, but now I want to do something a little bit different, and I want to get a count, for example, or I want to just incorporate just a certain set of these. That's when I'm going to put my cursor over on A7 and come all the way down to, let's see, that's going to be F19. And I'm going to come over, I click on filter sort, and I'm going to filter these. And then you'll see the little filter tabs appear. Now, with a filter, I'm working with records. So if I want, I can come over here, for example, on number of dependents, and I can deselect and then choose how many people have got 5 dependents. Now, this isn't that big of a deal, but if I had, like I said, lots of cases, it becomes a little bit different deal. Okay. And then I just come back over on the number of dependents. I clear the filter, and away we go. And to get the filter cleared from here, filter will give you a different look than a sort. A pivot table will give you a different look. So these are some kind of database functions that are incorporated with the computational work that we did, and that's really XLS8. Now we're gonna do this on. We'll do some more work, but what I'd like you to do right now is close your file, save any changes, okay, and then make sure you have the file on your desktop, okay, and upload it. So it's there and you get the credit, okay? You say, and you'll find that the quickest way, you say, what's the quickest way to get over there to upload something? What I would do is I'd scroll up here to the syllabus area, okay, and then I'd find upload XLS8 here. Got it? And then you're good to go as far as XLS8. Now, I do want to spend a little bit of time looking at case number 9. Case number 9 is Karma Digital, okay? And in this one, we're going to do a regression analysis, okay? Now, go back up to the modules here. And what we're going to do in the case, spreadsheet case 8, Karma Digital, excuse me, starts at page 81. Now there are 2 things we're going to do here. First of all, we're going to work with regression analysis, okay? And the second thing we're going to do is we're going to work with a quality control problem and try to identify it and try to figure out if it's going to continue, if we continue the trend we're on. Now, let me go in the files, I believe I might have something on regression analysis or XY. If not, we'll just take a peek at case 9. Okay. And I'm going to publish it for just a little bit. I may just publish it anyway. And it should appear on case 9. It should appear in your files at some point. XLS9. And I'm going to open up. I'm going to talk about it. And then we'll go back and we'll do some work with it. Okay. Sometimes when we have sets of data, all right, that we believe are correlated or have a relationship between each other, we want to find out, okay, what's the extent of that relationship, all right, and can I predict or forecast where things will go if they continue in their trend? For example, we know this. We know that the interest rates at the Fed have an impact upon home sales because people finance their home, and if money's cheap, they buy a bigger home usually because they can get a lower payment because they're usually paying lower interest. And for 95% of all buyers, the biggest chunk of their home mortgage payment for the first 10 years is interest. Because the people that put up the bucks want their interest first, okay? And they figure, and you say, well, what about the principal they might put up? Well, that's great, but if you don't pay, let's go get the house. It's not like you're going to pick the house up. So if you plan on getting something repossessed, let me suggest, if you've ever seen the Christmas movie, Chevy Chases in it, and he has the brother or the cousin that shows up with the large RV and all that. If you decide to default on a loan on your home, make sure it's something that moves, like an RV or a really big, nice, camper or something like that. Otherwise, you'll have a hard time picking your house up and moving it across the country. And trust me, the bank doesn't want your house. They want to write loans. They don't want to mess with you. But what we're going to do in that case is we're going to look at, okay, the relationship between two variables. And we're going to look at the percent of items that they put out that are defective versus the amount of production or the production volume. Okay, and then you'll see over here, here's a thing called the regression line, okay, and the predicted defective the predicted defective percent. Now, if you remember back from geometry or algebra and you learned the formula for a line, okay, you also understand about slope, the run and the rise, okay, and so we have a statistic, the regression statistic, that lets us track out two variables. And then if we want, we can even forecast, and we can get some really nice output from Excel that'll help us make a determination on how things look, where they're at, etc. And here's a prediction volume line fit plot. Now, I'll probably repeat some of this on Wednesday, so don't get too whacked out. But if linear trend has seemed to be something that boggles your mind, think of it like this. This solid line is what we call the regression line, or the line of best fit. Okay, it's based upon the formula for a line. Okay, and if you look over at page, well, they talk about the independent variable, the dependent variable. Take my word for it. And that predicted, and so this is a prediction. This is a line of best fit. If these two, if any two variables are perfectly matched, you're going to see this kind of line. Now, beware, because you may see a test item at some point that says, here's data for a major league ballpark, here's how much they sell in drinks, and here's the temperature. Now you would think that the higher the temperature, right, the more what? Drinks you'd sell. The lower the temperature, the less drinks you'd sell. That may be, if they sell beer, and it's hockey, I really doubt that it's probably going to, I don't know. But you would assume if it's hot outside, people will buy more drinks. Okay? Now you're going to see something over here, and these are the actual data. Okay, the percent defective. And then you're going to see the predicted percent defective. And what we're trying to figure out is how closely do the actual figures hug this line. The closer they are to this line, the more that we can say we've identified a relationship between these two variables. Okay? And again, with the tool, we can also get that equation, and then we can compute a thing called the R squared. That's the correlation coefficient squared. And what that does is that tells me what percentage of the variance or variation is accounted for by the comparison of the actual percent defective and the volume. And then we'll do some predictive work for a couple of years out, and we'll see how that all works. And we'll see the summary output on Excel for that. And again, this is a quality control thing that helps us think about, and it also helps us think about these types of relationships, because so much of the information, so many of the things we work with out in business are they are linear. They have a linear trend effect. Now, I'm going to go back up here for a moment, and I have some resources here for you. And let's go into the modules. All right. And if you open the welcome one up, I think you're going to find there's some. I think I've got, yeah, I might have one on the XY relationship, and I think I have some PowerPoints and some other resources for you to take a look at. Okay. And you can go out there and see them and get boned up a little bit on regression if you haven't had your stat course, or maybe you covered it before you got here, or maybe you've taken stat, I don't know. Now, you can also go over to the supplemental website, okay, and you'll find some resources over there. And I think I've got one on the XY paradigm. I may fire it up and talk about it a little bit. And how we assume some things, okay, in terms of how things relate to each other. And I've got that. I've got some information on time series analysis, close to that. And there's a tutorial on regression analysis. Okay. And so we'll take a look at some of that stuff on Wednesday. All righty. And like I said, there's also a student, in the student files over there, you'll see a skeleton case. And we'll go through this and we'll talk about it. Follow Tuesday. So I think we're good for today. I started about 10 minutes early, so we've gone about, yeah, 1 hour. We're close. And I'll get my pound of flesh out of you. Trust me. So I'll see you online on Wednesday. And we've done number 8, and we'll do number 9. Okay? See you then. Stay dry.